Good, Mercury retrograde. I'll just do the couple of minutes over again. um, okay, so we're talking about Neptune. And Neptune's the planet of vision, of dreams, of romance, of adventure. It's a really important planet in our chart, in our life. It's so important to have some romance, some belief, some faith in where we're going. No, the negative, the disbelief, the lack of faith, the lack of sense of adventure, it leads to all sorts of complications and sorrows in our life, or deviations. So like we have basically our Saturn discipline work to do. We get moments of excitement from Uranus, but we got our basic work, our basic responsibility, Saturn. And it's nice to get that excitement every now and then. We just need to get that break. Now and then, that's Uranus. But at the same time, we need to have some belief in what it's all for. We need to feel we're helping, we're doing something. We need to believe in ourselves. This will help the family. This will lead us to here. We'll get to there. If I do this and this and this, it will open up to this. It will evolve to this. You know, we have our kids and we want to believe they're going to grow up to be somebody. They're going to do things. It's a necessary process to reinforce the hard work involved in just taking care of business, taking care of life. So it's important to have the sense of every aspect or every quality of Neptune involves a type of faith or belief or some relationship to it, positive or negative. So it's funny because Neptune, nothing's as it seems. When you have a belief in something, I believe my kid's going to do this, I believe they should do this, I'm doing everything so they could be the star, or they could be the dancer, or they could be the politician or the doctor. I believe that, I believe I'm doing it. And the kid may grow up and not care about that belief, and may have a totally different belief themselves. Wow. So when two people have the same belief, we believe in each other, or we believe in something, wow, that's incredibly rapturous. When we lose our faith, or we lose our belief, or we realize other people don't believe the same thing, we can feel tremendously alone and lost. What do you mean you don't believe in me? What do you mean? Not like, whoa. There's, in this realm of belief, in this realm of vision and wonder and adventure and romance, it's filled with imagination, creativity, visions, rapturous identifications, and just the dream that we're going for. Wow. But how many of us have the dream totally there now? And when it's here right now, we start looking for the next dream or how it's moving on to this. So Neptune is like Uranus, is the excitement takes you away from the boredom or the tediousness, but can disrupt the stability. Neptune brings up this belief in we can work. It makes us really open to the big dream. It bypasses the tediousness of everything and opens up, or the structure of everything. It opens up a sense of wonder, a sense of belief, but also a kind of gullibleness and naiveness where we can do too much. We can go too far towards the belief and lose our sense of practicality. Of course, to have any belief is not practical. Okay, wow. So you can have a belief in eclectic, unified, global society. Or you could have, no, that's not it. We're just here for now. We just do what we do. We just get by. We get by. We don't have to have a belief. Whoa. You can believe in God or not believe in God. These are going to affect the qualities of your visions, of your adventures, of your sense of wonder of where things are going, of your romance and adventure. So there's times when we will indulge our sense of adventure, our sense of romance, and there's times when we feel we will never recover from it. We're trying to run away from it, or we're trying to not indulge it and make things more safer and more practical. Because when you indulge a belief and you put a belief way out there, and it starts to become made seemingly real, you can be let down tremendously by other people that you assume to be part of the vision, a part of the dream. So it's funny. It's an interesting puzzle between being a special blessing and so grateful we have our visions and dreams, our adventures, our romance, but it's the cause of all our sorrows and our guilt. I should have done this. I couldn't. I'm so sorry. I didn't maintain the belief, or I believed you and then I believed in someone else, or I let you down, or just, wow, it can cause so many expectations. Another big word for Neptune can create great expectations and great letdowns. So we expect something of ourselves. How much do we live up to our dreams? Oh, I could never do that. I don't believe I can do that. You have to believe you can do it. Oh, but I don't believe I can do that. This puzzle, this hauntingness is there. The expectation. As we have a belief, we have expectations, and we expect, I'm doing this, so you'll come along with me, you'll be with me, we'll be on this, we'll be pathing this. I believe in astrology, you believe in it too. Don't you come with me? We'll find a new adventure, we'll see a new understanding of things. What do you mean you don't believe in it? What do you mean you think it's the work of the devil? What do you mean? How could it be? How? Like, it's really hard to believe that other people believe differently than we do. Sometimes Neptune can come with belief, I'm really alone and aloof, I don't belong anywhere. It can be very aloof and evasive, but still is a protective sphere that allows our faith and being to be even if no one else is there. That's a more mystical type of belief. So there's puzzles with Neptune. It's never exactly this or exactly that. We have Neptune in our chart. In the sign Neptune's in, everybody for the whole 15 or 20 years has Neptune in the same sign. It's a generational factor. I'm part of the Neptune and Libra generation. I dream after the war of marriage and the perfect marriage and the ideal relationships. Wow, it played up, but it ended up being the divorce generation. Putting someone on a pedestal and nobody being able to live up to it. And the guilt and the sorrows and the complications that come from that. You would know that to start with, but when you see Neptune, it has this attitude. Everybody in the world has that. So it's not so unusual. It's part of the general themes going on. We try and tap into it, see how much we can get of it. But when we see it in the house it's in, that dream starts to affect that house. So I have Neptune in the second house, so my house of values and resources, I really value the dream of relationships, of the perfect relationship. Well, at least I did until after the third divorce or so. It was, I shouldn't say a rocky road, but it was a river with a lot of waterfalls in it, let's call it that way, but we still know it's going to the ocean. Neptune's a puzzle. It's a puzzle where it is. Something's never as it seems. You can't say it, you can't define it. It's exactly as it is. So wherever it is in your chart, something's not as it seems there. There's a point of belief, of vision, of rapture, of confusion, of sorrow, of expectation that's in this chart. So generally, you're gullible where Neptune is. In your chart, there's a gullibility or a fantasy, an imagination, or evasiveness. So for me, it's with money. Phew, I never had it in my whole life. Only had 13 months. I've had a job where I was being paid a salary. Once, usually it was the first paycheck, but once I had a job for 6 months. Wow, that was the longest. Once for 3 months, and the rest were all for a month or two or until the first paycheck, and I'm out of here. So that's my Neptune. But a lot of people with that Neptune, that's the hippie generation, takes a job and shove it. I'm out of here. I'm going place. That's the Neptune and Libra generation. When I went into Scorpio, it became the sex and drugs and rock and roll. It was enough to satisfy my soul. It was a vision went into a more passionate dream of an expectation of what we do. And in the end of that, we had all kinds of divergent relationships and beliefs in divergent relationships. So, and today we have there's no longer just the measurement of someone being alive, being male or female. There's other considerations that come in. It doesn't change the chart, it doesn't change your being, who you are. It's just manifestations of what you believe your sexuality is. And we live up to those dreams or we don't. Or we believe in them or we disbelieve in them. Sometimes we're just as fanatical believing or as fanatical disbelieving in something. So the danger of Neptune is it can go to these fanatical extremes with no defenses, with no discrimination, with no restraint. And when you have no restraint, things can go to great extremes, and great breakthroughs and accomplishments can happen. And great sorrows and guilts and great failures can happen. On a simple level, you meet someone, if you care for someone more than they care for you, and you believe in them more than they believe in you, or even more than they believe in themselves, you want to help, but there's a codependency and a sorrow inside of that. But boy, it becomes really, how do you assess whether someone has the same belief as you? How do we know? We don't. We believe, they believe, and it plays out. And I believe some people manifest their beliefs. We have to try anyways. It's part of the fabric of our being. But in the failures, in the losses, in the complications that come up from expecting beliefs, we get sorrows, we get dependencies, we get letdowns, we get guilts, we get really haunted things that bother us for a long time. These are outer planets. These are beyond the normal Saturn cycle, beyond 30-year cycle. These planets only happen to us, every aspect of it happens once in a lifetime. Well, it happens 3 to 5 times across a year or two, because they're moving so slowly, and they last for months, for 2-3 months at a time easily, each aspect within a year or two. So we're only going to get 1 or 2 hits of them in a lifetime to any one planet. But when they happen, they really change the pattern, change the plan. Neptune dissolves the old structures. It's like the water dissolving a sugar cube. It opens up the normal defenses of Saturn. In a way, it weakens Saturn. It softens Saturn. It dissolves the discipline. It floods the tsunami goes over the wall. It floods over the wall. It goes beyond the limits. And when it does, the results of these things cannot be contained. So on a personal level, it's our vision and romance. On a social level, these are great social movements and beliefs, or religious movements and beliefs that come up, or great migrations of people. We have Neptune in place now. We have so many religious persecutions and people migrating away from war and emigrating, and like the world is changing. The borders of countries are not strong enough to withhold the tsunami of mass movements of immigration. So we can see it at a social level, in which case Neptune becomes kind of the social conscience, or the belief in how things should be and how it could help people rather than hurt people. Or it can be the fanatical belief that it's only a white world, it's only a black world, or it could be the racist side it could be part of Neptune. So prejudice is tied in with Neptune. Deception, dishonesty, confusion, avoiding the reality, not seeing things clearly, trying to escape. But really, it's a falling away from belief or corruption of faith and belief and vision. Boy, it's a hard thing to live up to all the limits of vision, because to really do it properly, to get one vision is going to require years and years of discipline, of hard work to ground the vision. And most people take Neptune and it dissolves their discipline. They don't know how to maintain discipline in the face of great dreams and schemes and visions or sorrows. If you get sad, what do you want to do? I don't want to go to work. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like being calm. So Neptune brings in great sorrow. I like to think great expectations, great dependencies, great sorrow. But because it involves the expectations and then the letdowns and the codependencies and dependencies, it includes dependencies, which means dependency on sugar, dependency on coffee, dependency on alcohol, dependency on drugs, and all the complications. Boy, it's hard to get rid of an addiction. So Venus is really tied up to what you want, and it's tied up to your personal obsessions and addictions. But Neptune comes in and really magnifies them. It increases the vastness or the unlimitedness of something. So it can magnify a little thing, magnify a little beauty into a great beauty. It can also magnify a little fault into this huge guilt or fault or expectation.